Good evening, viewers, and you're welcome to the program Stock and Shares. Interestingly, for viewers in Lagos and Abuja, the lockdown is now in its third week. However, we can confirm to you that nationally, the Nigerian markets continue to run despite the lockdown. Again, giving the advantage or the usage of technology. But on the program this evening, we'll be sharing with you first how well did the week perform. But given that we also have 7 trading days to the end of the month of April, we'll also be sharing with you what the month of May may also bring. Also on the program this evening, we'll also be sharing with you market developments, as well as developments as far as the market at the end of trading today. But that is not all that we'll be sharing with you, because if you are also a regular viewer of the program, one of the things that we also pride ourselves in is the fact that we also have segments. And part of the segment means that we'll be sharing with you corporate results. And on corporate results this evening, again, we'll be bringing you 2 organizations in terms of how well they have done in the last 12 months. And still talking about our regulars, we also have notice board. And notice board is basically to update you as to which company is offering what in terms of return. By the way, we can also confirm to you that if you are also a first-time viewer, one of the things that we also encourage you to do is to also get involved in the program. And your involvement is basically one of the major key factors as to enhancing the quality of the program. For your information, this program is designed to help investors. So the more that your contribution comes our way, the more we are also able to address major areas of needs as far as the Nigerian market is concerned. So you can use the SMS platform or use the email platform. All of them will end up in helping us to aggregate the areas of concern. But if you're also a first-time viewer, one of the things that you also will be benefiting on the program week in, week out, because this we have done in the last 13 years, is the fact that we also share with you the company of the week. And we'll be leaving you to judge as to how educative as well as entertaining the program is, while also enhancing your understanding of the Nigerian market. Because one of the things that you find globally is to also think that because you're talking business, because you're talking finance, everything has to be hard. But in this instance, you also have some sense of humor, as well as sense of direction, and some sense of history, economics, geography, all sorts, all put together. So it's on that note that we'll be asking that you permit us to take the first break. And when we do come back after the first break, what we'll literally be doing is to roll out the drums. Permit us.
There is a reason Africa is called the new frontier. What was once potential is now an opportunity ready to be seized. Once revered for our resources, today's wealth lies in our people. People who build the cities that shape the future. People who know an idea in one place means business in another. A generation for whom technology means there are no borders, no boundaries. We are the new lions in a brave new world, kings of the urban jungle. And there's a bank that puts the world in our pocket and the future in our hands. UBA, Africa's global bank.
This is beautiful. Quality is vital. Quality is Vitafoam.
Hello, honey.
Hey, baby.
Wow, those guys are good in bed.
What?
Yes, we're good in bed. Hurry now to any Vitafoam accredited dealer nationwide or visit us online on www.vitafoamng.com to place your order today. Vitafoam, the fine art of living.
You're welcome back. And if you're just joining us, the program is Stock and Shares. We can confirm to you that yes, we have 7 trading days to the end of the month. But one thing that is certain is that nobody can for certain say this is the way that the month is going to end, because currently the trading index is still indicating over 6% in terms of growth at the end of trading today. But looking at the way the week ended, and that is talking about week ended 17th of April 2020, and that will come on the screen a moment from now. First, we will confirm to you that the 7.19% jump or leap that was posted in the week happens to be the best in 15 weeks. But further down, one of the things that you also will notice, just like we had in 2009 to 2012, when we had 4 straight years of the index being up, coming after the 2005 to 2007, 2 years of being up, and between what we also had in 2014 and 2017, again being up. So if you look at the index column, what you are going to find is other than 2007, 2016, 2017, and 2018 being down, as well as 2013. What we've had is a situation where the index for this period of the year has basically been on the upside. Taking it further, other than 2016 and 2018, like I told you, to 2018 being down, one that you also will find is that 2020, in terms of yield to date, is standing at a negative of 16.61%, despite the gain that we talked about earlier, which also means that for the same period between 2011 and 2012, this is turning out to be the worst yield to date for the same period, because in 2014 the yield to date at this time of the year was standing at a negative of 4.26. In 2018 it was positive at 6.72. In 2017 the yield was negative of a little over 5%, and 13.7% in 2016, though positive in 2015. Also in 2014, it was negative of 4.88 and positive of to the level of 17.5 in 2013. And in 2011, as well as 2012, he also closed positive in terms of yield to date, standing at almost 5% in 2012 and 1.4 in 2011. And if you look at the next chart, which is a more detailed position as to how the market did perform, again concentrating on the gains, because that is usually where an investor will be much more interested in. Again, looking at the summary, the last 3 years, 2018 to 2020, 20 or to 2020, what you will find is that 6 sectors were basically up, and that is talking about NSC 30 positive in those 3 years. And if you also look at the banking subsector, you also look at the premium, pension, main market, and governance index. The 6 sectors were up in those 3 years. But it must also be mentioned that for Lotus and consumer subsector, 2013 to 2018, both sectors has 6 straight years of the index being down. But before we go to the inactive market, I will probably hold on a little on this and quickly mention that in 2013, we must also confirm that Livestock Feed did have a private placement, and that private placement was for 800 million shares. But 3 years later, we were having Unity Bank doing the share reconstruction, and that share reconstruction resulting in every 10 shares held having to have shareholders take only one, had the share price move from 50 kobo to 200 kobo. But what has happened to 5 naira rather, but what has happened thereafter as his company is struggling below 100 naira. Similarly, in 2018, Flour Mills was listed, and it was listed at 27 naira. Currently, Flour Mill is struggling with a 21 naira price. And in 2019, Staco was also listed, and it was listed at 4 naira 65 kobo. At the end of trading today, Staco is struggling with sub 2 naira. Why for 2020, we can confirm to you after the fear that UAC may not pay any dividend, haven't had his major cash cow, CAPL, avoiding to pay dividends. UAC has now come out, despite a loss result, to have his shareholders later in the year approve a dividend of 10 kobo. But looking at the inactive market, which is the next chart I will be sharing with you, one thing that you also will notice is that in the last 10 years, the market has continued to struggle in terms of the size of companies whose share price usually will remain stagnant week in, week out. In 2020, we have 105 companies not making any move in terms of share price, and that itself is not unique to 2020, because every other year since 2011 had also had that position. And it's on that note that we'll be taking another break, and when we come back after the break, we'll be looking at the companies that also helped the market to rally to the over 7% appreciation that we talked about earlier. Please stay tuned.
Life is like a game of trust. Sometimes to fly, we fall. What's important isn't why, when, or how. What matters is who will be there to catch you.
Hey, good thing I'm here.
Definitely. Always a good thing.
Custodian. Exceeding expectations.
Honey!
Daddy, please, can I go out with you and Mommy tonight?
Sure thing, sweetie. Get your shoes and we go.
Promise?
You have my word.
Daddy!
You know I wouldn't leave without you, my princess.
There's nothing more important than a promise. We are Fidelity. We keep our word.
over 3 decades, people world over have improved their health and well-being by its rich ingredients. A unique blend of essential amino acids, multivitamins and minerals specially formulated to combat stress and fatigue. The golden promise of Astamine is being enjoyed by more and more people who have found the deepest secret of living life at its peak. Astamine. Get healthier.
What kind of nonsense be this? Now no one chop? Say as customer boku for this place. Not be the same business we do. Huh? Answer me.
Oga, no be Dangote 3i cement then they use.
Don't you tell me? You tell me say one cement better than another one? Not be it our cement we use for this block. Eh? Ah! Who set this block? Who set this block?
You see why I tell you now, say Dangote 3i cement. Now, Baba, he get extra strength, better yield, and extra life when they take well. Ah! No take your money buy problem. If you want better, buy Dangote 3x cement today.
Dangote 3X Cement. Build with peace of mind.
You're welcome back. Starting from the smaller market, and that is talking about the NASD, for the week ended 17th of April, one of the things that we can confirm to you is that that market basically remains stagnant, though at the end of trading today, there was an upward movement of 0.54%. But it's also important to mention that despite the fact that no company recorded price gain in the week, we had a situation where CSCS basically rallied to controlling over 87% of the volume traded and 76.4% of the value traded, leaving Lighthouse, Wamco, Friesland Campina, and Niger Delta basically struggling with the crumbs. But on the other hand, looking at the NASD of Nigerian Stock Exchange rather, we are the situation where 37 companies appreciated in share price. This itself is compared to 21 companies that dropped in share price. And that itself was partly as a result of the rally, again, including on the last trading day of the week, because we had the market going down, going up on the last trading day of the week. And what we then found is a situation where Nestle basically had a huge rebound, a continuing rebound, if you like, because it went up by 136 naira 80 kobo to add 16.5% to its market capitalization, having added 53 naira 80 kobo on the last trading day of the week. If you do remember, the previous week the company had also gone up by 65 naira 20 kobo to be the best performing stock. So for the second consecutive weeks, we have a situation where the market is having to reward Nestle finishing as the best finisher. Okay, and looking at the chart, going back to the chart, you also will find that Dangote Cement ironically finished a distant second, if you like, because Dangote was adding 19 naira to his share price. But in terms of market capitalization, he added 16.2 to his market capitalization, and fully reversing the 8 naira drop that I posted the previous week when he finished second. Interestingly, this is Dangote's third appearance in 15 years compared to Nestle's sixth appearance in 15 years. For Nigerian breweries, they went up by 10 naira 15 kobo, again on the path of recovery, haven't gone as low as 20 naira in the last 4-5 weeks. And what that also meant is that Nigerian breweries was picking up 45.7% in terms of market capitalization in 1 week, and also recording the seventh appearance as far as the market is concerned for this period of the year. MTN went up by 6 naira 50 kobo, haven't gone up by 3 naira the previous week when it finished third. Yes, MTN didn't drop price at the end of trading today, but the fact that some deals also happened below 100 naira. Also give an indication as to how well the market also struggled at the end of trading today, and that will come to in the course of the program. Corn oil went up by 4 naira 25 kobo, peaking 32.3% of market capitalization, having gained 1 naira 50 kobo on the last trading day of the week. GT, fourth appearance, going up by 1 naira 95 kobo, having gained 30 kobo on the last trading day of the week. The previous week, he was also up by 1 naira 25 kobo. Julius Beda went up by 1 naira 70 kobo, fourth appearance, having again gained 70 kobo on the last trading day of the week. The previous week, the company was up by 75 kobo, finishing 12th. Dangote Sugar, third appearance, up 1 naira 65 kobo, adding 15.4% to its market cap. And the previous week, he was also up by 1 naira 80 kobo to finish 6th, while Stanbic IBTC, that went up by 2 naira the previous week, finishing 5th, added 1 naira 50 kobo to his share price in the week under review, also picking up the 5th appearance ahead of, same with BOA, that also added 1 naira 5 kobo to his share price, but this is also BOA's 5th appearance, again taking the origin of BOA from Northern Nigerian Cement. BOA's, interestingly, did pick up a slot on the chart, courtesy of the 2 naira 45 kobo gain on the last trading day of the week. The previous week, BOA was down by 4 naira 50 kobo. Let's also mention that PZ, that went up by 40 kobo on the last trading day of the week, closing at 4 naira 40 kobo, did miss up a slot on the chart, notwithstanding that it went up by 10%. But at the end of trading today, let's also quickly mention that, yes, the index did go down by 1.27%, and also resulting in the second consecutive drop, having gone up 7 consecutive days earlier. This may not be unconnected with the fact that the inflation figures were released today, and our headline inflation did go up, reaching 12.26%. And with all the 12 components that determines the inflation, including food, that went up to 14.98%. 4 companies, like I mentioned, did go up at the end of trading today, compared to the fact that we had 27 companies going down. But looking at the companies that went down in the week under review, which is the next chart that we'll be sharing with you, like I mentioned, we had 21 companies dropping in price. Again, you will find that the sizes were also small sizes, if you like, because Adova, former Forte Oil, did go down by only 1 naira 15 kobo, and that also meant that it was shedding 10.2% in terms of market capitalization, having gone down by 1 naira 10 kobo on the last trading day of the week. The previous week, the company was down by 2 naira 55 kobo to be the 4th worst performing stock. But we can also confirm to you that at the end of trading today, the company did drop another 25 kobo to close at 10 naira, and with a yield today standing at a negative of 45%, and the 10 naira itself is an all-time low 52 weeks. Lafarge Africa went down by 1 naira 5 kobo to book the second appearance, ironically, as against Adova's 8th in 15 years. But Lafarge earned itself 8.3% drop in terms of market cap, having also dropped by 40 kobo on the last trading day of the week. The previous week, when the 1 naira dividend was announced, the company did go up by 3 naira 30 kobo. Cadbury was down by 60 kobo, the 5th appearance in 15 years, and also having to have 8.7% of its market cap. Ironically for Cadbury, had it not dropped 70 kobo on the last trading day of the week, it probably would not have been on the chart. That will have also meant that Cadbury will have reversed the 10 kobo that it dropped the previous week. For Flour Mills of Nigeria, 7th appearance, going down by 30 kobo. Same with Guinness, that is having its 3rd appearance. But Flour Mills' 30 kobo drop was on the last trading day of the week, while Abico, that would drop by 28 kobo, also had 9.8% of its market capitalization, as against 11.25 that was that had to go off in terms of the market capitalization of NACO. NACO the previous week did go down by 20 kobo, while UBA that went up by 1 naira 25 kobo, finishing 7th the previous week, had 20 kobo off his share price to also book the second appearance. Between now and between 2018 and 2020. FCMB was down by 11 kobo, 2 worse than FITSIN that was down by 9 kobo. FCMB itself was returning from a 24 kobo gain the previous week. Let's also confirm that FCMB is also being marked XDIV, which means anybody who is buying FCMB now will not benefit from the 14 kobo dividend. Same from Access Bank that was marked also XDIV and having to drop 40 kobo. At the end of trading today, before we come to the next chart, we can also confirm very quickly that of the 27 companies that dropped in share price, 11 of them were basically partial recovery. What is that we mean by partial recovery? Even in the course of trading, they lost much more, and we'll be mentioning them in the course of the presentation. GT Bank was down by 155 kobo to close at 18 naira 35 kobo. Yield to date negative of 38.2%. Julius Berger dropped by 1 naira 15 kobo, closing at 25 naira 80 kobo. Yield to date is standing at a positive of 29.7%. For Zenith Bank, it dropped 1 naira 10 kobo, closing 13 naira, and yield to date is standing in negative of 29.8%. While Lafarge, that closed at 10 naira 35 kobo, having dropped 1 naira 5 kobo, has the yield to date standing at 32.4%. For Surplus dropped 60 kobo, and it did close by 494 naira 40 kobo, and the yield to date is approximately 25%. UBA 30 kobo, closing price 5 naira 30, yield to date negative of 20.28%. While Access Bank that dropped 30 kobo closed at 6 naira 10 kobo, and in terms of yield to date is standing at a negative of 39%. Don't also forget that all of these price changes came about because there were also transactions. And looking at the transactions that we had in the week, first with the big ticket. Looking at the big ticket, one of the things you will find is Omoluabi is proving a big boy, in quotes, because for the second consecutive week, Omoluabi is trading the biggest size, having done 1.1 billion the previous week. In the week under review, is doing 293 to top the chart that had 6 banks or financial institution in the first 6: Omoluabi, FBN Holdings, Zenith Bank, UBA, GT Bank, and Fidelity Bank. But in all, there were 12, or in the top 12 rather, we had 8 banks finishing strong, and that included FCMB and Access Bank, hence leaving the other 4 slots for small players, if you like EcoCorp. EcoCorp itself has been a major surprise, but hopefully next week we'll be telling you much more about EcoCorp. But looking at the big value, how the volume translated to value, then the story becomes slightly different. Omoluabi certainly trading for less than 60 kobo then would not have had the muscle to be able to compete on the big value chart, and that had the chart basically had the presence of the big boys. Zenith Bank doing 3.3 billion ahead of GT Bank that is doing 2.4 billion. But in all, again, you have the banking sector dominating, 5 in the top 12, and the premium sector, which again another highly capitalized sector, also doing 7 out of the 12. Don't also forget that the likes of Zenith Bank, first FBN Holding, UBA, and Access Bank are in the banking subsector, and yet also in the premium sector, hence the overlap. So that is basically the position as to how the market did close at the end of the week and at the end of the month. And when we do return, what we'll be looking at is taking a peep as to what the month of May may be offering us. Please stay tuned.
Sterling Bank, we believe that the world should revolve around you. That's why we've created a banking system that does just that. A system where you're constantly met at your point of need, and where we treat you like you're the only one that matters. Sterling Bank, the one customer bank.
There's something every mother has. It's something like a sixth sense, like knowing exactly when her baby's in danger. It doesn't matter where she is or what she's doing. She carries her family in her heart always and knows when all is not well, even when it appears like she might be wrong. A mother's instincts are hardly ever wrong. And she trusts M&B paracetamol, the red one, to save the day. With fast-acting and effective M&B paracetamol tablet, the red one, and its pleasant-tasting pineapple flavor syrup, she sends aches and pains far away from her family. Because mothers who know trust May and Baker for its over 70 years of quality experience. If symptoms persist after 2 days, consult your doctor. M&B paracetamol. Pain can't stop you.
For every uncertainty that life presents on a daily basis, there is only one cover you can be sure of. The Sovereign Trust Insurance PLC cover. We have all it takes to give you the assurance that life can be perfect, even in the midst of uncertainty. Come under our cover today and put life's uncertainty behind you. Sovereign Trust Insurance PLC. We've got you covered.
You're welcome back. One of the last chart we were sharing with you is the fact that in this period of lockdown, we can also confirm to you that a number of AGM have also testing positive in terms of COVID, and a number of results have also tested positive in terms of COVID. Talking about, before we come to the long-term investment, which will take any moment from now, we can confirm to you that 2 companies that will have had their EGM and AGM. First is Nigerian Breweries, which will have held its AGM tomorrow, and Friesland Campina Wapco, which will have held an EGM today. Both meetings have been COVID, so hence the change in date. But in the course of this program, we also will tell you the result that you should be expecting, the full year that you'll be expecting in the week, all things, in the new week, all things being equal, because they've also had challenges as related to COVID. But looking at the chart on the screen, and we'll continue to emphasize this because one of the disturbing facts is that a number of investors still considers the capital market as a short-term investment outlet. This is not very correct. To better put it, this is not correct. So the market is a long-term market. But looking at the long-term position as a way of also strengthening that the issue that has been raised is that if you look at the chart, the right-hand side of your screen, that is a 10-year position, which means that if you invested in the market the last 10 years, vis-a-vis the middle position, which is investment in the last 5 years, the 10 years position continues to be a better return. The fact that they are negative notwithstanding, because if you look at the all share index, for instance, when the last 5 years has been doing less than 35% negative, the 10-year position is doing less, a little above 18% negative. So, and when it comes to being negative, the bigger the number is in being negative, the higher the loss that you have made. And again, looking at that chart, you will find that NSE 30, 10 years is better than the 5-year position. Consumer subsector, 52, almost 53% negative is also better than the almost 57% negative in 5-year position. And if you also go further down, talking about the oil and gas, you also find that the 47% negative is also better than the 49% negative. So we'll continue to encourage investors to take a long-term view. But how long the investment is also a function of your cash flow and also of your reserve as an investor. But looking at what the month of May may also throw on our way, which is what is one of the major things that we thought we should talk about on the program this evening, is that interestingly, May happens to be, before COVID, happens to be one of the most stable in terms of the Nigerian market. Looking at the chart, other than 2018 and 2015, and as well as 2010, in the last 10 years, we've had a situation where the month of May has remained strong, positive. And that also means that in the last 10 years, we only have the market in the month of May closing 3 times negative. And if you then extend that position further and looking at the last 20 years, that is year 2000 to year 2020, you also have the market in the month of May also been down only 3 times. So in 20 years, the month of May is only been down 6 times. And we can confirm to you, ironically, this also included 2005 and 2015, 2008 and 2018. And then the outstanding years that failed to pick up a pair has to do with year 2002 that went down by 0.1%. And then you also will find that other than year 2002 that fails to find a partner, and then year 2010, we're not certain whether it will find a partner in year 2020. But one major fact that we must also share with you, that in 2009, we had the situation where the month of May rallied to a 28.2% jump, and that remains the market best since the history of the Nigerian stock exchange. But while that chart is also on, let's quickly share with you the companies whose full year may also be coming any moment from now. We have Portland Paints and Products and UPDC. We expect that they will be coming on the heels of UAC, which happens to be their parent company. Boa Cement, the Initiate, Transnation Wide Express, NACO, Codville, GSK, Adova, and E-Transact. So that is the picture of the month of May, hopefully. But let's also close on the note of, generally, for a market that is in this level of difficulty, one of the things you also find is that a number of investors will want to stay off the market. But what experience have shown is that after the fall, usually a rise, and the bigger the fall, the rise also becomes steeper. So we'll be hoping that a number of investors, now that the dividends will hopefully, hoping there will be no extension of lockdown, you can have the dividend, and you can also top it by also making sure that you go after your unclaimed dividend, because this is the time to be in the market. Just continue to take down your average, and down the line, I will have better stories to tell. It's also on that note that we take another break, and when we come back, we'll be looking at the 2 companies on parade, talking about corporate results. Please stay tuned.
My name is Wale Kadri. I'm the Executive Director of Technical ICO Insurance PLC. ICO has been in existence for 55 years, and we have track record. In this market, we are known by a lot of multinationals. In terms of claim settlement, in the industry, they know us for that. Settle claims within 24 hours, within 48 hours, because we have the financial muscle and we have the technical skill, capability to do it. In terms of branch network, we have presence in so many states. We we also give them best of services. So that's what we stand for as I. We are always there, and there's a claim from our clients. We've been supporting various businesses for a long time, and we'll continue to do that.
There is a reason Africa is called the new frontier. What was once potential is now an opportunity ready to be seized. Once revered for our resources, today's wealth lies in our people. People who build the cities that shape the future. People who know an idea in one place means business in another. A generation for whom technology means there are no borders, no boundaries. We are the new lions in a brave new world, kings of the urban jungle. And there's a bank that puts the world in our pocket and the future in our hands. UBA, Africa's global bank.
You're welcome back. And if you're just joining us, the program is Stock and Shares. Talking about the two companies on parade. This is largely determined by a number of factors. But the factor that determines the two companies on parade is the fact that Infinity Trust Mortgage Bank happens to be the first company that released its first quarter on the Nigerian Stock Exchange. And looking at that result, you'll find that the top line basically maintains some growth, having moved from 1.14 billion to 1.35 billion. However, the profit after tax will not be able to maintain that growth, having gone down from 448.3 million to 367.4 million naira. And that basically also explains why the earnings also dropped from close to 10.8 kobo to 8.8 kobo. However, for the company that paid a dividend of 3 kobo the previous year, the dividend in 2020 will be 3.5 kobo. And that's the combination of drop in profit reflected in the earnings and the price remaining the same also helped to push the waiting period further up, close to 13 years as against 2019 position, 12 months ended March 2019, compared to 15 and a half years based on the results for end of March 2020. Ironically, the company's share price is basically been on a decline, and this again is relative to the dividend that is paid. I haven't been listed at 1 naira 50 kobo, dropped to 1 naira 45 kobo at the end of 2014, dropping to 1 naira 42 kobo by 2015, then taking a 7 kobo climb to 1 naira 47 kobo in 2016, then dropping to 1 naira 44 kobo 2017, 1 naira 42 kobo by 2018, and then 1 naira 39 kobo by 2019, and then as end of trading today doing 1 naira 36 kobo. For this next company on parade, African Prudential, again, the reason that these two also had to come is for us to be able to begin to gauge the impact of COVID, because the last 1 month of the quarter, which is the month of March, quite a number of companies had to struggle through in having to have any operation. The top line went up from went down from 4.4 billion 12 months ended March 19 to 3.8 billion by 2020. And in terms of profit, from 1.9 billion in 2019, it dropped to less than 1.7 billion by 2020. Again, that is expressed in the earnings that dropped from almost 94 kobo to 82 kobo. However, for the company that paid a dividend of 50 kobo in 2019, the dividend, hopefully, that will be approved in 2020 will be 70 kobo. The waiting period basically remained flat because for the company, no bonus has been offered in both years. With a low of 3 naira 15 kobo and a high of 5 naira 50 kobo, the company that closed at 3 naira 47 kobo at the end of the week with a 70 kobo dividend has a yield of 13.4%. In 2019, closed at 4 naira 50 kobo with a 50 kobo dividend, it had a yield of 8.9%. And in 2018, closing at 3 naira 87 kobo with a dividend of 40 kobo, he had a yield of 6.7%. And in 2017, closing at 4 naira 22 kobo with a dividend of 30 kobo, he had a yield of 10%. But the share price have also climbed from 3 naira 5 kobo in 2016 to 4 naira 22 kobo in 2017. This itself is coming after the drop in share price because in 2013 it closed at 3 naira 32 kobo, dropping to 3 naira 4 kobo in 2014, and then dropping further to 2 naira 49 kobo by 2015. Interestingly, in 2012, it did close at 1 naira 59 kobo. So that is the story of the two companies on parade talking about corporate results. It's also on that note that we'll again be taking another break, and when we do come back, I will literally be telling you of the company of the week. Please stay tuned.
Our customers are focused, versatile, superheroes. Our customers are also the most important people in our world. So we listen, partner, and give solutions that make a difference in their world. At First Bank, we will always put you first.
You first. First Bank.
How do you know if your dream is big enough? How do you know the time is right?
Leaving Lagos to start a farm? Are you normal?
I forged ahead with confidence. I stayed chilled, and now I've gone far. When your dreams test you, stay chilled, stay Premier Cool.
You're welcome back. And if you're just joining us, the program is Talk and Shared. One of the text messages that we've received is already indicating that we skipped the companies that went up at the end of trading today. But we can confirm to you very quickly that the companies basically played in the second, they play in the second tier of the Nigerian Stock Exchange League because we had MPF Microfinance gaining 10 kobo, and that happens to be the highest gainer in the week, and that also meant that the company was closing at 125 naira. The yield to date is standing at approximately 9% positive. Omoluabi added 5 kobo to his share price to close at 60 kobo, and that also means that Omoluabi is picking up the highest in 52 weeks. But in terms of yield to date, Omoluabi is also standing at a positive of 9%. Len Africa picked up 2 kobo, while Lasako picked up 1 kobo. And while Len Africa has a yield to date negative of 14.2%, Lasako is standing at 0, haven't opened the year at 25 kobo, which happens to be the closing price at the end of the market today, as against Len Africa that closed at 97 kobo. But to the company of the week, Nigerian breweries, and quite a number of persons will be wondering. Ironically, we did mention in the course of the program that the deeper that the market takes a tumble, should you decide to be bold and go to swim with the shark, the chances of you making bigger return is also one that can be assured. Nigerian breweries in the week, we told you earlier, went up by 10 naira, 15 kobo. That also meant that in 1 week, he accumulated almost 46% appreciation. Don't also forget that in the first quarter of 2020, Nigerian breweries, that is 31st of March, Nigerian breweries had gone down by 56.5% in 1 quarter. And in the month of March, it did drop by 36. Sorry, in the first quarter, it dropped by 56.5, and in the month of March, it had dropped 36.7. So for investors who are bold and trusting enough to be in Nigerian breweries after the 31st, after the end of March, this is a reward time for them. And certainly, if you also play hard as far as this market is concerned, and any other capital market, much more long term, you're also likely to get huge results. And it's on that note that we'll be thanking you for being part of this program this evening. God willing, next week we'll be back, notwithstanding the lockdown. But what we must also share with you, please take away our takeaways, or if you like, we're offering you bonus. Take away the ad and information that we'll be providing, and we'll see you next week. Good night and God bless.
I live for my friends. I will always be there for them through everything, especially the big moments. That is why I'm happy with Alert Savings Goals. It helps me save more and meets my expectations. My name is Anita, and I use Alert.
Alert, powered by Wema Bank.
For every uncertainty that life presents on a daily basis, there is only one cover you can be sure of: the Sovereign Trust Insurance PLC cover. We have all it takes to give you the assurance that life can be perfect, even in the midst of uncertainty. Come under our cover today and put life's uncertainty behind you. Sovereign Trust Insurance PLC. We've got you covered.